Owning our Gladiator has been awesome, and in fact the only major problem that we've experienced has been issues with steering. So in this video I wanted to cover 5 of the most common issues that you might be experiencing with your steering. So to make this video a little bit easier, I'm going to start from the top down. We'll start with the steering box, then we'll move to the Pitman arm, then we'll move to the drag link, then the tie rod, ball joints, and last we'll talk about the track bar. So let's talk about the steering gearbox. If you're having any kind of funky feel in your steering, this is the absolute first place you should start. Jeep released a repair bulletin which replaces the original aluminum steering box with a much stronger steel box. Many people have reported squishy feel and tons of play in the original aluminum steering box. I have to believe that at this point, most used vehicles have had this steering box replaced, but there could be a chance, depending on the year of your Gladiator, that yours has the original aluminum box. The easiest way to tell is by looking under the driver's side wheel well and physically inspecting the color of your steering box. If you have the original box, it'll be more of a silver aluminum color versus the new one, which is a deep black. If you do have the old box, Jeep should replace it for free under the service bulletin. Check the description of this video for a link to that bulletin. Moving down the list, the steering box is connected to the Pitman arm. Think of this like a giant servo from an RC car. The Pitman arm is held on by a giant bolt and is splined on the inside. In extreme cases, the bolt holding the Pitman arm on can become loose. If you notice any kind of weird situation where the steering becomes totally loose and then connects again, do not drive until you inspect the Pitman arm to ensure it's tightly secured.
My wheel's upside down, bro.
Surprisingly, this exact situation happened to us on Eagle Rock. In fact, the only thing holding the Pitman arm on was the Synergy steering brace. Again, this is a very rare situation because this bolt is typically supposed to be torqued extremely tight, but if it does come loose, it can have severe consequences. Have someone turn the wheel of your Jeep while you watch the Pitman arm to ensure there is no play in the arm movement itself. From here, the Pitman arm is connected to the drag link. In our case, the dealer had replaced the drag link and the tie rod with the Synergy parts. Roughly 10,000 miles later, it turned out that the bushings on both ends of the drag link were blown. Because they were blown, they contributed to a squishy feel while we were turning. In addition, this also caused the drag link joints to be filled with dirt and grime, which caused them to fail even quicker. The drag link should have some movement, but it shouldn't drop down. In our case, this ultimately caused excessive binding because it dropped down so far that it physically contacted our steering stabilizer on full lock. So if you're noticing any kind of binding when you're in 4 low or 4 high, check your drag link to make sure that it's not flopping down so much that it's physically contacting another part in your steering. Next, let's move on to the tie rod. This is the long rod in front of your Jeep's front axle that connects both wheels together. The drag link turns your passenger side wheel, which then connects to the tie rod, which moves the other wheel. However, if your bushings are blown, this can cause a weird tracking sensation and abnormal tire wear. It can also make it nearly impossible to get a proper alignment. This is another situation where the dealer had replaced the tie rod with the Synergy tie rod, and after about 10,000 miles, both bushings were blown. Man, we just got hammered with bushing issues. Every single one of the Synergy bushings were blown, and the Jeep never felt like it wanted to track right. If your Jeep has any aftermarket parts, be sure to inspect all of the bushings. Even if it's stock parts, inspect all of the bushings. Steering problems can also be caused by components that seemingly aren't directly related to a steering part. In our case, the track bar. The track bar helps align the axle left and right while moving up and down. This was another component that the dealer had replaced with the Steer Smart track bar. At first we would notice a clunk on certain obstacles and at certain angles. It felt like a knock in the steering wheel, but we couldn't ever quite pinpoint it. After messing around with the wheel enough, it was very obvious that the bushing was completely gone on the frame side of the track bar. This can also cause a weird sensation where it feels like your whole Jeep is shifting to one side when you're turning while driving down the highway. The last component you should check if you're still having problems are the ball joints. These are the joints that allow the knuckle to turn in relation to the axle. On Jeeps, especially with oversized tires, the stock ball joints wear out fast. In some cases, even in 15,000 miles or less. Ours had roughly 50,000 miles on them. Some symptoms can include weird squeaky sounds when you're turning the wheel, a clunk when you're going over bumps, uneven tire wear, and any unstable wheel movement when you're going over obstacles. We ended up replacing our ball joints with the Dynatrack HD ball joints, which are rebuildable. There's nothing worse than having steering problems on your Jeep. It's the worst feeling in the world. So I guess the moral of the story on this video is check your bushings. Maybe every 5,000 miles is a good time to go through and just make sure nothing's torn, nothing's blown, nothing's leaking grease. For us, this is our first time owning a real Jeep. You can make fun of us in the comments if you want, but we've had 4Runners and every kind of Trailhawk that you can have. In fact, we just bought my wife another Trailhawk, and we're not used to the differences in the steering between those types of vehicles and a solid front axle type of vehicle. So I'm hoping this video will help any new Jeep owners understand a little better how the steering works and all the different parts you can check out. For us, we learned it a little bit the hard way. So let us know what you thought of this video in the comments. If you got any value out of this, please give us a thumbs up. And also, we make cool videos of all the trails that we run in our Jeep, so if you want, go ahead and check out one of those videos. We'll see you on the next one. Are you still here? Go check out one of our other videos. They're pretty cool.